into legal action over the safety of level crossings in Victoria after the recent acquittal of the truck driver at the centre of the 2007 Kerang rail disaster. Survivors and victims' relatives are now planning a civil action against the driver, Christian Skoll, and their lawyers warn the state government may become embroiled. 11 people were killed when Christian Skoll's semi-trailer ploughed into a passenger train at a level crossing near Kerang in the state's northwest. His acquittal this week has reignited debate about the safety of the state's level crossings, as Luke Waters reports.
A little over 2 years after the horror accident that forever linked the unremarkable town Kerang and a nearby level crossing came the verdict. Truckie Christian Scholl walked free after being acquitted of 11 counts of culpable driving causing death and 8 of negligently causing serious injury.
I will never forget the impact of that day on the lives of so many. My thoughts are with those families. I am so sorry.
I miss him. Yeah, I miss him terribly. Every day. I cross the railway lines a few times a week. Matty's constantly on my mind. It never stops. Yeah, that's Matt there.
Brett Stubbs lost his 12-year-old son Matthew when the semi-trailer ploughed into the Melbourne-bound passenger service. Himself a truckie, Mr Stubbs says the verdict is simply baffling.
Very hard to understand how a person can take the lives of 11 people, wreck the lives of countless other people and have not so much as a fine. You know, not even a fine or a loss of licence or any penalty whatsoever.
But the defence framed its case around a deficient level crossing. The court heard authorities failed to act despite repeated warnings of near misses on the level crossing, which was at the time without boom gates. Train drivers reported 10 near accidents in the 9 months leading up to the now notorious crash. It was enough to sway the jury.
The major overwhelming reason for that is because of the condition of the level crossings over which you have control.
Courts make decisions and I absolutely accept those decisions, but there's no doubt that human behaviour has contributed to accidents in those cases.
In 2006, 2 people died at a level crossing west of Ballarat when a truck driven by Ivan Jenkins collided with a high-speed passenger train. Mr Jenkins was acquitted on similar grounds to Christian Scholl. The angle on which the road and rail line intersected was found to severely limit the truck driver's vision. The bottom left screen of this engineer's recreation shows Ivan Jenkins' view from his seated position behind the wheel. It takes 13 seconds for the rig to fully cross the rail line. The line of sight at the crossing gave him just a few seconds to see the train as it approached.
I had to pull up, actually get out of the seat and have a look as far as I could. Couldn't see the train, got back in the seat and everything and then took off, but I did get hit by a train.
So because the train was going so fast, by the time you got back in your seat?
Yeah, by the time I got back in my seat, done my seatbelt, took the brakes off, got going. It was already on me before I could bloody realise it.
The 14-tonne block of granite Ivan Jenkins was carting pierced the side of the train, killing 2 passengers.
The driver was not in a position to be able to see. It's the problem we have. If all we want to do is blame the driver, it gives us a really simple out in terms of a safety system. It's always the driver's fault.
G'day, George.
Forensic engineer Shane Richardson helped recreate the accident for the court case and says the risk of another Trawalla or Kerang is ever present.
There are level crossings that have the potential of this type of event to occur still in Victoria.
Recommendations from a parliamentary review into Victoria's 1,800 level crossings were largely adopted by the State Transport Minister yesterday. The government has pledged $30 million a year for the next 3 years to improve safety. It ranges from rumble strips and boom gates at some country crossings to a $140 million grade separation proposed for the Springvale Road Nunawading crossing, deemed by the review as Victoria's most dangerous.
As Minister, does it concern you that forensic engineers think that some level crossings in Victoria are the potential for another Kerang or Trawalla?
Look, Every level crossing around the state is dangerous if people don't obey the road rules. I mean, I've sat at level crossings and I've watched people drive around boom gates when they're down.
Up to 45 level crossings will be upgraded each year. But according to opposition spokesman Terry Mulder, that means the government's leaving hundreds as potential death traps.
Their prioritisation of rail spending in this state has been appalling. Fast trains, Mikey smart cards, and yet we've got these level crossings around the state that haven't been addressed, even though the government knew and were warned that there was going to be a catastrophic accident at one of them sooner or later.
Terry's playing politics, and this is not an issue to play politics with.
This is a political issue. It is a political issue, and we're going to use every measure that we have to make sure that the government act promptly, because they haven't in the past.
It's a tragedy that will happen and will continue to happen until we address it in such a way that we've mitigated almost all of the level crossings that we've got in place.
Ivan Jenkins and Brett Stubbs will be forever linked by profession, tragedy and a heartfelt plea for change.
You might have got off in the court, but in your bloody mind you'll never get off because you've actually killed people. So, yeah, I know what Christian's going through. He's got worse than I have, so, but it's still the same thing. It should have been done before all the accidents. Maybe people wouldn't have died in it. Well, I'm sure they wouldn't, because if you've got boom gates and lights, you don't go through them, do you?
This can't happen again. The government needs to look at either flying over major roads or under major roads, but trains and trucks should never cross the same path, and it's as simple as that. I mean, money, it's a lot of money, I understand that, but how much is a human life worth?